In this episode of Flea Market Rescue, we're going to take these plastic bulbs I got off of Facebook Marketplace and turn them into high-end bulbs. Next, we'll take old flour sacks that we got from Springfield and turn them into German-inspired stockings. And lastly, we'll take these little sheep cutouts and turn them into the perfect ornament or bowl filler. Also, today we'll be launching all the new products in my Etsy store. So if you're ready for this episode of Flea Market Rescue, then let's dive in. Whenever I'm on Pinterest, I'm always drawn to Scandinavian and German decor. And I thought it'd be fun in this episode to recreate some of that. So we're going to start with some of these bulbs that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. So I bought some of these bulbs off of Facebook Marketplace. These are really cheap plastic ones. I think I bought like a whole container for $5. Again, very cheap. We are going to make them look really cool and very expensive. So let's start. So we're going to make up a mixture of baking soda, and I'm going to use Annie Sloan's graphite paint. We're going to mix equal parts. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of this baking. Ooh, that's quite a bit. I don't think we need quite as much. And then we're going to put some Annie Sloan paint in there. I just had to mix that up. Okay, so we're going to add some of that paint in there. Mix this around. Now you can do this mixture with any paint. I just prefer Annie Sloan because it comes out very rich. I need just a little bit more paint here. All right. And I think we are ready to paint these. You might want to wear gloves because this can be quite messy. Just going to dab that all over. Cover the entire bulb. And the best way to do this too is also just kind of go over that and stipple it a little. This just gives it a little bit of a rougher texture. This pattern along with the texture is going to look great. So we're going to repeat this process on all the remaining bulbs, and then we're going to let that dry. You just want to make sure that you coat them entirely with this baking soda and paint mixture. That way you only have to touch up a few little spots rather than doing a whole second coat on these. So we're almost done with these, and again, we're just going to let these dry and then we'll come back to them, and if they need touch-ups, then we'll do that, but they should be pretty much okay. Okay, so now that our ornaments are all dry, we are going to add a little ground cinnamon to it. You're just going to rub that in. Only in just a few spots. You don't want it over the whole entire thing. Do you see how that cinnamon really brings out the detail in your ornament? These are turning out fabulous. They look old and worldly, and I love it. Oh, one more. We gotta finish that one too. Now I have a dampened brush. I am just kind of doing a little of this. By adding a little water to your brush and going over the cinnamon, it just kind of sets it a little. It brushes off some of that cinnamon, but it also makes it a little crusty. We're just gonna let those dry up a little. So I'm just gonna snip these off. Any of them that I do see. All right, and so I'm just going to take a piece of this twine. I'm going to fish it through. What I like it is it has a natural element to it. It's like a, a natural twine. Even has a little twinkle to it. You could even add a little greenery coming down too off of these. They could just really be spectacular. So we're just going to finish by putting the natural twine on the rest of these. I think this makes them a little more high-end instead of having a little plastic string. And here they are, all finished. Before we dive into the next project, I just want to remind you guys that today we are kicking off Christmas in my Etsy store. We have all new products that we've been working on, and I think you're really going to like them. Also, we're having a sale. You can take 15% off your entire purchase, and if you spend $35 or more, you get free shipping. Now, this offer is good through November 17th to November 27th. And again, that's while supplies last. Because if you remember what happened during fall, I was buried in orders. I could barely get them out. So I have to put like a quantity number on them. I did recruit my mom and my best friend Karma though. So they're ready to help. We'll get these out as soon as we can to you. Now, on to the next project. Now, if you remember last year when I was in Springfield, I came across these 2 grain sacks or flour sacks, and we did a couple projects with them, but today we're going to use them for a totally different purpose. We're going to make these awesome German-inspired stockings. All right, I am going to draw a pattern of a stocking. We're going to make this like an old-time stocking. We're probably going to need 3 pieces of paper just to make it long enough. So I'm just going to tape those together. Now that I have this taped together, we're just going to make like an old-time looking stocking. So let's kind of make it start a little wider here. We'll come down to, you want the toe pointing down. I want to do a little bit of a kind of little curve right here. Again, that's gonna, now we are making this a little bigger than what we normally would because of the fact that, you're gonna have like a 1/4 inch seam when you're sewing it. So I think that looks pretty good. Hopefully you can see that. My marker's almost running out, but I think that serves as a good pattern. So I'm going to cut this out, and then we're going to draw that onto our bags. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut this pattern out here. So I think that is a pretty cool stocking here. Maybe it's a little too flared. Cut just a teeny bit of that off. Okay, so I think that, again, looks really good. We're gonna make some of those. I'm gonna draw out a little pattern onto those bags. If you remember when I was in Springfield, I picked up these flour bags or flour sacks, and we've already made a few projects from them, but today we're gonna make a really like old time stocking. I have two of them. I don't know if this one particularly is gonna be long enough. I could probably cut this and kind of make it long ways, but we'll see. But this one is definitely long enough. And I do have some more bags that I picked up when I was at that barn sale too. So we can, look you guys, I found all these linens. So we could also use these to make some stockings. I think those would make good stockings too. So let's go ahead and draw our pattern, and then we'll go ahead and sew these up. So first you're going to put your pattern down on your fabric. Your fabric should be doubled, and you're going to trace all the way around your stocking. We're going to leave a little extra length at the top because we're going to fold that down to give us a nice finished edge on our stocking. Now we have a lot of extra fabric, so we're going to cut around our stocking just to make it a little more manageable when we're sewing this. We're going to repeat the same thing with the other two stockings. Again, I'm going to leave a little bit at the top so we can turn it down to have a nice finished edge. Now this piece of fabric was a little bit trickier because I needed to cut something in order to get a little extra length. I think if I cut this one here, we'll be able to get one more out of there, but I'm gonna have to cut this so that it'll be long enough. I'm gonna cut this one because, again, like I said, we've used this fabric on other projects already. This is gonna just give us a little more length here. There you go. So now if we fold this like so, that just gave us a lot more fabric here. And with that, I was able to get a stocking out of this piece of fabric. I placed the pattern down on the fabric, traced around there, and I also left a little at the top so we could turn it down for a nice finished edge. Now, where our stocking started, you know, like right here, I'm actually going to take this much and fold it down so that we have a nice folded edge, and then I'm going to sew this down. So we'll fold that right now like so. That way this is going to be on the inside, and we're going to have a nice finished edge for our stocking. So we're sewing our seam across the top part of our stocking so that we have a nice finished edge. This is way too much fabric, so we're going to have to actually trim that down once we get done sewing this. So now that we're done sewing this, we're just going to clip those strings. And then you can see that we have a nice finished edge. This is what you're going to see on the outside, and this is what you're going to see on the inside. But again, we have way too much fabric for this. This is just like overkill, so we're going to trim a little of this away. That's much better. Yep, that's going to even look good on the outside. So now we're going to fold this in half, and we're going to sew on our drawn line. All right, so you want to lock it in place. And then you're just going to continue to follow your line all the way around the entire stocking. And as you get towards the top, make sure you lock it in place. So now we have sewn all the way around our stocking. And we just need to cut it out. So I'm just gonna cut around where we sewed. Now around curved edges, you want to clip. Otherwise they don't turn very well. So you're gonna clip up to the stitching, not through it, but up to it, and just kind of, that way it'll turn very good for you. Same here in the curve of the foot. You wanna do the same thing. And then that way, when you turn it, it just is gonna give a nice look to it. All right, now that we have this all cut out, we are gonna turn it. So I'm just gonna stick my hand down in here, grab the toe part and pull it out. And then we're just gonna flip that inward. And proceed to get the rest of the toe out. I think this is looking pretty darn cool. All right, so the only thing else to do is maybe we could stamp some letters on here. I think that would look really awesome. Let's finish sewing up the other stockings and then maybe we'll stencil something really cool on here. All right, now that we have the stockings all done, I have these stencils. One says Christmas, this one's in German, meaning Christmas tree, and then holidays. So we're gonna stencil these on, and I'm just gonna use some of this Hurricane Gray by Dixie Belle. I'm just gonna use a little masking tape and I'm gonna tape our stencil down. That way I do not have to worry about it shifting or moving. Let's move that over slightly. All right, let's go ahead and start stenciling. Now just remember, when you are stenciling, less is more. If you use too much paint, it could bleed underneath. All right, the moment of truth here. So cool, it says Christmas. All right, let's go on and do the rest of them. These turned out so good. I love them. The next thing that we need to do is we need to make a loop for our stockings. So we're gonna take some jute and we're gonna cut a little piece, tie it in a knot, and then inside we are going to stitch it with some embroidery thread and an embroidery needle. Now you could hot glue this, however, if you did, you know, it's not going to look as nice as if it was stitched in, and also it's just more secure too, I believe. So let's make our loops for all 3 of our stockings. So you really don't need a whole lot of jute, because again, we're just, you know, making. So you're going to tie it in a knot, leaving about that much for the loop to hang. I'm going to cut it, and then, like I said, we're going to put it in the seam here, and we'll do a few stitches, and it'll be beautiful. So I'm just finishing up the other 2 loops. You want to make sure that you keep them at the same kind of size. That way they can hang at the right distance. I'm going to take the inside corner here, and I have my embroidery thread, and we're just going to kind of zigzag over this. Just want to do it a couple times just to make sure that it is secure. I'm actually going through the knot, and then I'm just going to tie this off. See, just 3 stitches, that's really all you need, and this thing is going to be in perfect placement and will work well. Okay, so I'm going to do that to the other 2 here, and then we'll move on. Now, when I was at Utica Antique Flea Market, I bought a whole bag of these. And so we're going to use 3 of them, 1 on each. And then at Target last year, I had picked up this. I love this. I don't know if they have it this year. Maybe they do. You want to check because they have some great greenery. But anyway, there was 3 of these little wreaths. We're going to use those on top of our grapevine star. So let's get those together. All right, so what we're going to do is put 1 on each. I'm going to find another thicker one. That's a little better. Okay. And then we have those 3 wreaths that I showed you. They actually have a little loop, so I guess they're kind of like an ornament. We'll put 1 on top of each of these. And then I have this fabric from last year. If you remember, we made mittens. Well, we're going to use a little of that too. We'll just cut a piece here. I like to tear my fabric because it leaves a really cool edge. So I'm just going to rip that all the way down. And we're going to tie these together using this. And then we can hot glue this little loop behind here, and that will hold that in place. All right, so I'm going to take a little hot glue and I'm going to hot glue this to the back here. I'll just put a little bead of glue. And put that loop right into there. You want to make sure it's dry before you put this against the other side, otherwise it's going to be glued shut. All right, so that one's on there. We'll just glue this one here. All right, so they are all on. I think they look so awesome. Now, if you have a really lightweight fabric like this one, these are really sturdy, but this one here is a little thinner. So what happens is when you try to hang this, because it's so thin, the wreath that we just placed on here and the grapevine is just dragging that down. So to prevent it from, like, you know, flopping, we're just gonna put one little stitch right in the front here to hold that up. So now when I take this, it's perfect. So yeah, just put one little stitch to hold that in place on the front, and it'll be good. I think these came out so nice. If you wanted to make them a little darker, you could always coffee stain them a little bit. That would give them an even more aged look, but I really love how they look and I think they came out great. Now for our last project, little sheep. I have this cute little sheep. It's actually from my Etsy store. I sell these wood cutouts and I have a whole bunch of different ones, but we're going to use the sheep today. So we're going to use this Folk Art Matte Pure Black paint. We're going to paint the entire sheep black and then let that dry, and then we'll flip it over and then paint the rest. You're going to take a little piece of jute and you're going to make a loop. From there, we're going to just glue that onto the back of the sheep. You just want to hold that in place until it adheres to the sheep. And afterwards, we're going to snip the little ends that are a little bit too long. Now we're going to take some of this yarn and we're going to start wrapping it around him. We want him nice and full. I like to start in the back, but you really could start anywhere because the yarn is going to go over it anyhow, no matter what spot you put it in. So you're just going to keep wrapping it around, and again, you want to make him nice and full. Right now I'm kind of going this way and that way, but once you get towards the end, you kind of want to stay in one kind of pattern. But in order to cover all the areas, you're going to need to crisscross all over. Now that around his head is pretty well full, see how I'm just going in one pattern? Because you don't want him to look like a mummy, you actually want him to look like a sheep. It's going to take you a couple minutes to get all the way around him and make him nice and full, but once you do, he's super cute. I want to make sure that that yarn is secure around his nose. I don't want it slipping, so I'm just going to put a little dot of hot glue to keep it in place. Once you have a good amount of yarn on there and you feel like he's full enough, you're going to cut the yarn. You want to hide the cut piece in the back. We're going to secure it with a little hot glue, and then you're going to try to tuck it in. But if it's hanging too far down, you want to snip it and then tuck it in. Yep, see, this is just hanging a little too low. We're going to snip this. How cute is he? You can use him as an ornament, or you can make a couple and use them as bowl fillers. And this was such an easy project to do. Don't forget, we have that 15% sale off the entire Etsy shop, and I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the things that we've been working on. We have these wonderful vinyl decals. They're perfect for like larger bulbs, or you can put them on these little wood rounds for ornaments. You can get these wood rounds at Hobby Lobby, and I've even seen them at Walmart. You're going to paint these little wood rounds either white or black depending on what decals you get. They come 6 and you get to choose the color. You can either have white or you can have black, or you might even want to buy both. But they're super cute and they make great ornaments. Speaking of ornaments, check out these cute little hats. You can personalize them. They come in a do-it-yourself kit. It has the paper. You just choose 1 through 4 which style you like. You choose the font you like, and then you say what you want personalized. Do you want it to be a name? Do you want it to be a last name? Or do you want it to just say Merry Christmas? So these are fun little ornaments. They're not very expensive. All you need is just a little bit of paint, because everything else is provided for you. These wooden gingerbread are so cute, and it would be a fun project to do with the grandkids or the kids. You know how kids love to paint. Now these can be made into ornaments. There will be an option that you can either have a loop or you can just have them just like this. I think these would be fabulous bowl fillers though. You could add a little bit of greenery. You can kind of space them out in a bowl. I think they would just be adorable. We have other wood cutouts such as these angels. You could paint them chippy white. You can add them to a package. I really love these. If you're looking for an angel decal, I have the perfect one. This one says Merry Christmas. I picked this tray up at the thrift store and I painted it white and I added this decal and it looks beautiful. This is going to sell right away. I know it. I have more adorable wood cutouts. I have Santas. I have snowmen. I have just a range of different kind of cutouts that I think you're going to love. And don't forget, you can always add these to packages. They make your packages look so nice. You just add a touch of greenery and tie some jute around there to hold it in place. And again, just simple and easy and looks fabulous. You also could put these in a frame and make some art with it. Oh, and I almost forgot these skates. These skates come in a pair, and it comes with the fur, and it's sort of like a kit. Again, you have to use your own paint, but it does come with the cutout, and it also comes with the fur. And if you're wondering how I got that rusty color on the blades, we just did that on the bulbs. I used gray, and I used cinnamon, so that's all you need to do. Don't forget that we also have those hang tags. We used them on the pumpkin project, but I totally could see you using them on a Christmas tag. Not only do we have the German-inspired stocking stencils, but I also have this cute reindeer one. This would look great on a pillow. And then my friend Karma even had a great suggestion too. She said you could use that snow that you put on your windows. You could hold the stencil up and spray it, and then that would give you that image. I think that would be really cool. We're going to continue to keep adding things to the Etsy store, but in the meantime, take advantage of that 15% off the entire store. And don't forget, if you spend $35 or more, you get free shipping as well. Well, that's it for this holiday edition of Flea Market Rescue. If you like this episode and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. I'm Kelly Sherry, and this has been Flea Market Rescue.